They ask you, O Prophet, about intoxicants and gambling. Say, in both there is great evil and some benefit for people, but their evil is greater than their benefit. They also ask you as to what they should donate. Say, whatever you can spare. This is how Allah makes His verses clear to you, so that you may ponder upon this world and the hereafter. And they ask you about the orphans. Say, to work for their good is better. And if you join them in your affairs, they are your brothers. Allah knows the one who makes mischief distinct from the one who promotes good. If Allah so willed, He could put you in trouble. Surely Allah is almighty, all-wise. Do not marry idolatresses unless they believe. A Muslim slave girl is better than an idolatress, even though she may attract you. Nor give your women in marriage to idolaters unless they believe. A Muslim slave is better than an idolater, even though he may attract you. These people call towards the fire, while Allah calls you to paradise and forgiveness by His will, and He makes His verses clear to the people, so that they may take lesson. They ask you about menstruation. Say, it is impure, so keep away from women during menstruation, and do not go near them, have intercourse, until they are cleansed. Once they are cleansed, go to them in the manner Allah has permitted for you. Surely Allah loves those who are most repenting, and loves those who keep themselves pure. Your women are tillage for you, so come to your tillage from where you wish, and advance something for yourselves, and fear Allah, and know that you are to meet Him, and give good news to the believers. Do not make the name of Allah an excuse in your oaths against doing good, fearing Allah, and setting things right between people. Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. Allah will not take you to task for what is unintentional in your oaths, but will take you to task for what your hearts have earned. Allah is most forgiving, forbearing. For those who swear not to have marital relations with their wives, there is a waiting period of 4 months. If they go back on their oath, then Allah is most forgiving, very merciful. If they resolve to divorce, Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. Divorced women shall keep themselves waiting for 3 periods, and it is not permissible for them to conceal what Allah has created in their wombs, if they believe in Allah and the Last Day. Their husbands are best entitled to take them back in the meantime, if they intend to set things right. Women have rights similar to what they owe in recognized forms, though for men there is a step above them. Allah is mighty, wise. Divorce is allowed twice. Then either retain them in a fair manner, or release them with kindness. It is not lawful for you to take back anything from what you have given them, unless both fear that they would not be able to maintain the limits set by Allah. Then, if you fear that they would not be able to maintain the limits set by Allah, there is no sin on them in what she gives up to secure her release. These are the limits set by Allah, so do not transgress them. Those who transgress the limits set by Allah are the transgressors. If he divorces her, for the 3rd time, she shall no longer remain lawful for him unless she marries a husband other than him. Should he, the latter one, divorce her, then there is no sin on them to return to each other, if they think they would maintain the limits set by Allah. These are the limits set by Allah. He makes them clear to a people who understand. When you have divorced women, and they have approached the end of their waiting period, then either retain them with fairness, or release them with fairness. Do not retain them with the intention of harming them, so that you exceed the limits. Whoever does this wrongs his own soul. Do not take the verses of Allah in jest, and remember the grace of Allah upon you, and what He has revealed to you of the book and wisdom, advising you thereby. Fear Allah and be sure that Allah is all-knowing about everything. When you have divorced women, and they have approached the end of their waiting period, do not prevent them from marrying their husbands, when they agree between themselves in a fair manner. This is an advice for those among you who believe in Allah and the Last Day. This is more virtuous and purer for you. Allah knows, and you do not know. Mothers shall suckle their children for 2 full years, for those who wish to complete the term of suckling. The father shall bear the cost of the mother's food and clothing on a reasonable basis. No one is burdened beyond his capacity. Neither shall a mother be made to suffer because of her child, nor a father because of his child. The same is the responsibility of the heir. Then, if both parents desire weaning, with mutual consent and consultation, there is no sin on them. If you wish to engage a wet nurse for your children, there is no sin on you, provided you pay what you agreed to pay in a fair manner. Fear Allah, and be sure that Allah is watchful of what you do. Those among you who die and leave wives behind, they, the wives, shall keep themselves waiting for 4 months and 10 days. Once they have reached the end of their waiting period, there is no sin on you in what they do for themselves in a fair manner. Allah is fully aware of what you do. There is no sin on you if you make an offer of betrothal to women, or keep it hidden in your hearts. Allah knows that you will think of them. But do not make a secret promise with them, except that you say something recognized as good. Do not resolve on the marriage contract until the prescribed period reaches its end. Be sure that Allah knows what is in your hearts. So fear Him, and be sure that Allah is most forgiving, forbearing. There is no sin on you if you divorce women while you have not yet touched them or fixed for them a dower. Yet, provide for them, the rich according to his means, and the poor according to his means. A provision recognized as fair, a duty upon the virtuous. If you divorce them before you have touched them, but you have already fixed a dower for them, then half of what you have fixed should be given, unless they forgive, or forgives the one in whose hand lies the marriage tie. And your forgiving each other is closer to taqwa, piety. Do not forget to be graceful to one another. Surely Allah is watchful of what you do. Take due care of all the prayers and the middle prayer, and stand before Allah in total devotion. If you are in fear, then pray, on foot or riding. But when you are safe, recite Allah's name as He has taught you what you did not know. Those among you who die and leave wives behind, they shall make a will in favor of their wives for their maintenance for 1 year, without forcing them to leave the house. However, if they leave on their own, there is no sin on you in what they do for themselves in a fair manner. Allah is mighty, wise. The divorced women deserve a benefit according to the fair practice, an obligation on the God-fearing. This is how Allah makes His verses clear to you, so that you may understand. Did you not see those who left their homes in thousands fearing death? So Allah said to them, "Die." Then He raised them alive. Surely Allah is gracious to people, but most of the people are not grateful. Fight in the way of Allah, and know that Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. Who is it that would give Allah a good loan, so He will multiply it for him many times over? And it is Allah who withholds and grants abundance, and to Him you will be returned. Did you not see a group from the children of Israel after the time of Musa, when they said to their prophet, "Appoint for us a king so that we may fight in the way of Allah"? He said, "Would you perhaps refrain from fighting if fighting was prescribed for you?" They said, "And why would we not fight in the way of Allah, when we have been driven out from our homes and our children?" But when fighting was prescribed for them, they turned away, except for a few of them. And Allah is all aware of the wrongdoers. Their prophet said to them, "Indeed, Allah has appointed Talut, Saul, as a king over you." They said, "How can he have kingship over us, when we are more deserving of kingship than him, and he has not been given any measure of wealth?" He said, "Indeed, Allah has chosen him over you, and has increased him abundantly in knowledge and stature, and Allah gives His sovereignty to whom He wills, and Allah is all-encompassing, all-knowing." Their prophet said to them, "The sign of His kingship is that the ark will come to you in which there is tranquility from your Lord, and a remnant of what the family of Musa and the family of Harun had left, carried by the angels. Indeed, in that is a sign for you, if you are believers." When Talut set out with the troops, he said, "Indeed, Allah will be testing you with a river, so whoever drinks from it is not of me, and whoever does not taste it is indeed of me, except one who takes from it in the hollow of his hand." But they drank from it, except a few of them. Then when he had crossed it along with those who believed with him, they said, "We have no power today against Jalut, Goliath, and his troops." But those who were certain that they would meet Allah said, "How many a small group has overcome a large group by the permission of Allah, and Allah is with the patient." And when they went forth to face Jalut and his troops, they said, "Our Lord, pour upon us patience, and plant firmly our feet, and give us victory over the disbelieving people." So they defeated them by permission of Allah, and Dawood, David, killed Jalut, and Allah gave him kingship and wisdom, and taught him what he willed. And if it were not for Allah repelling some people by means of others, the earth would have been corrupted. But Allah is full of bounty to the worlds. These are the verses of Allah. We recite them to you in truth, and indeed, you are among the messengers.